Because after 1991, 92, 93, and 94 happened. 92, we got knocked out early. 93, we got knocked out early. 94, we lost in the final 8 game, and I thought, well, maybe that's it. Maybe we're not going anymore. And then after 95, when we won, 96, 97, 98, 99, I thought maybe we're one and done. You know, all these bad things were happening. You know, all these injuries were piling up. So to then be able to be here after all that time, I never, ever, ever expected that.
How much in all those years has the sport grown, and how much has this particular event grown?
Well, the first year we had was at Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, and there was 8,000 people at the game. And there was one person with a camera following me around the streets of New Orleans, period. And the Hartford Courant had one reporter down there, and I don't remember another newspaper talking to another guy, you know, another newspaper, well, Carl. But he was always there. He's like the furniture. He was always there. And now you look around today, and, you know, the game has been elevated to a place where I don't think we could have imagined back then. But it's a place where I think the people who care about the game always hoped it would go to, you know. So I'm really happy, and I'm proud of the fact that UConn's been a big part of that.
Geno, forgive me, I was in the locker room. I don't know if you addressed this in the press conference, but Kristen has this sort of effervescent, you know, she's like excited about everything. She's even excited about like the banquets that other people may be like, we don't want to do this. And Katie Lou and Nafisa were both saying that's nice to have that around. What's it like for you to have somebody who's, none of this is old for her?
No, and that's the best part about it is when you come here and you have a couple freshmen and they're playing a big role in the team, you know, you can't ever take this for granted. You can't ever say, you know, this is the same old, this is what we did last year. Because these kids, like Kristen said, she said this last weekend, she said, last year I was watching on television. I was watching UConn playing in the semifinals on television. Now I'm getting to play in that game. So, you know, when you put it in those words, you know, you gotta appreciate that this kid's dream has come true. You know, and the only thing that could be better is winning Friday and then winning Sunday. So, yeah, I'm sure that's how the Oregon kids feel. I'm sure that's how the Baylor kids feel. You know, it's just us in Notre Dame that feel like, yeah, you know, we do this all the time. But at the same time, my 2 freshmen don't do this all the time. And who's to say they'll ever be back? That's the part that, you know, it's scary. It's scary.
Geno, is defense optional in this game? To listen to your players, it sounds like you're going to score 100 and you hope that they don't score 120.
Yeah. Is defense optional? I don't know if it's optional, but I think both teams are going to play really hard defensively. But if we're making shots and they're making shots, I don't think it's going to matter. So I know we can't guard them. You know, when we beat them at their place, it wasn't like, wow, we did a great job defensively on them. If I showed you the film of that game, you go, how'd they miss that shot? Like, they missed a lot of makeable shots. So tomorrow night, there's going to be a lot of makeable shots. I hope by both teams, and the team that makes them wins. I don't think anybody's just going to all of a sudden hold anybody to 60 tomorrow. At least I hope not. Whatever team scores less points is probably because they just didn't shoot the ball well. But Notre Dame, I mean, they get to the free throw line. We don't. They offensive rebound the hell out of it. We don't. So it's probably more imperative for us that we got to make shots.
What's your favorite rivalry to watch?
My favorite rivalry to watch? Oh, God. That's a good one. Eagles-Cowboys is one. Red Sox-Yankees. You know, those are ones, you know, that I kind of grew up with. You know, obviously all the Duke, North Carolina men's games over the years. When guys stayed 4 years, you know, and they played against each other for 4 years. It was unbelievable. And, you know, the games that we had with Tennessee, the games that we've had with Notre Dame now. But I think it's great. You know, I think it's great. I think the more of these, there's probably not enough of these. You know how like they talk about football? You know, they play on that one weekend, Auburn, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, and Yale, Harvard. You know, you can go up and down. I don't think we have enough of these. There's not enough of those, you know, bitter rivalries that, you know, maybe the game isn't old enough yet either. You know, maybe it's not old enough. But I'm glad we've been part of two great ones.
I was going to say, what does it mean, though, to the two biggest in, I would say, collegiate women's sports, not just basketball? You're in both of them.
Well, I like to think that we've been pretty good for a long time, and we bring out the best in other people, you know. And maybe other teams like Notre Dame and Tennessee bring out the best in us, too. I'm probably the only guy in this room old enough to remember Ali Frazier, you know. Sometimes you just need that other guy that's going to knock you out, and you better be on your best behavior.
How important is this rivalry to the growth of, you know, college basketball in general, not just the women's game?
Well, I just said that it's, without it, the game just becomes, you know, oh well, you know. I think we need more rivalries like this one, more schools to have a rivalry with somebody that's this intense. And maybe, you know, if we hadn't played in the same league for such a long time, it wouldn't be like that. But there needs to be more of these because I think it's great for the game.
Do you think you see more of them in the conferences, though, like Oregon, Oregon State,
Yeah.
UCLA, USC?
Yeah, you know, they're just not as much on women's basketball yet. Not yet. And again, Oregon and Oregon State haven't been good enough, long enough to establish that kind of tradition. And maybe, you know, we'll be looking back 10 years from now and say these two teams are always playing for the Pac-12 championship, you know, or they're always playing to go to the Final Four. Who knows? You know, but that's I think where the game, you know, eventually can really take off.
How does your rivalry with Notre Dame compare to the one you had with Tennessee and the rivalry you had with both coaches? I mean, how are they the same and how is it different?
Well, they're the same only in the sense that you know, both teams have lots of really good players on the floor. So year in and year out, the best players are playing against the best players, and you know that whenever you play them, you can't luck into the game. You're not going to go out there and just beat them because you're Connecticut. So that's the same as it was with Tennessee. What's different is, you know, anytime you have personalities, you know, Muffet's different than Pat. Tennessee fan base is different than Notre Dame's. You know, I just think that I like the fact that the rivalries are the same for the reasons that it's about the players. I love that it's about the players. You know, when we used to play Tennessee, every year that we played them, there was 2 or 3 people on the team that were going to make the Olympic team. And there were some iconic players on the floor every time we played those teams. And it made it like really a heavyweight fight every time we played them.
What are the keys to this game other than making shots, Geno?
Staying out of foul trouble. You know, we don't have a deep bench, obviously. So we've got to stay out of foul trouble. We've got to find a way to get to the free throw line because you can't just rely on how many jump shots you're going to make. You know, we got to get some transition baskets. You know, which how do you get transition baskets? Well, they got to miss. If we're constantly taking the ball out of the net, we're not getting allowed transition baskets. So, there you have it.
Time for a couple more.
You know, Megan didn't get off the bench last year in the Final Four, and yet here she is. And, you know, after last game, also she's a difference maker. You know, kind of unique to see how much
she's grown since then, and just what can you expect from her?
Well, I hope the same mindset and the same approach that she had in Albany, where she comes out and feels aggressive and feels like she wants to assert herself. She's got to be a presence in the game, offensively, defensively. She's got to be a presence in the game. She has to make her presence felt. Period. However, which way that is, and if she's knocking down threes, then obviously that changes our team completely.
How important are the close games that you guys played this year going into tomorrow?
Well, anytime you can be in a game where you got to figure some things out at the end, I think it helps you. I think it helps prepare you for down the road. The only difference is a close game in January at Louisville or a close game at Notre Dame or whatever the case may be. You have a game tomorrow or next week. Close game Friday night, and this free throw means our season might be over. That might be a little different story.
Geno, for the players on this team that have been to this stage of the tournament the last 2 years and had that horrible feeling of leaving empty-handed, how would you gauge their focus and just overall looseness heading into tomorrow's game?
I mean, everybody looks good the day before the game. You just all you can do is all you can do. And try to get ready. And then, when they wake up tomorrow morning, you say, well, let's go through the same routine that you go through any other game day. Sure, you can do that, but all afternoon they're going, this ain't any other game day. This is not the same. So, today everybody looks like they always look the day before a big game. Tomorrow, we'll see.
Everybody talks about the experience of playing in this game, but what is the benefit for somebody like a Kristen Williams or any of your freshmen to not know what this feeling is like?
I think it's good and bad. I think they can be totally overwhelmed by the enormous pressure that comes with it, or they could be oblivious. I mean, I don't know. Stewie was overwhelmed a lot her freshman year in big games. And then came over here and acted like I've been doing this all my life. You don't know how young players are going to react in this situation. I think that's why it's so exciting.
Thank you.
All right.